around a little bit and walk through it a little bit as well. Alright, we're almost at our camp for the night on the spur of the moment backpacking trip over here on the Olympic Peninsula. And since I guess this channel is about, house hacking and financial independence, I guess we should probably talk about something related to that. So with that being said, I think a good topic would be, looking at all the renovations we did on that house, about $50,000 on that house. It would make sense. A very common thing to do is refinance the mortgage and then try to pull that money out so you can reinvest it. But we're gonna look at kind of like our options being house hackers and why we had decided not to refinance and just keep the equity in the house as is. So let's get to camp and we'll talk more about that. Yeah, it was way too cold to do a video out there. So we are back here in the basement, and as you can see, it is much warmer here. So as Hiking Brad was saying, we left a lot of our own money that we earned from our jobs in that deal, in that house hack in Colorado. And let's just take a little bit of time to understand what that means exactly. So take, for example, let's just say you buy a house for all cash, all of your own money, $60,000, and then you spend more of your own money, like $40,000, fixing it up, rehabbing it, closing costs, whatever other fees are associated with it. So you are, quote, all in for $100,000. That is, you spent $60,000 of money on the purchase price, $40,000 fixing it up. So all of your own money is in the deal at $100,000. Now let's just say after fixing it up, the house appraises for $135,000 and you've rented it out. So it's a cash flowing asset that's worth much more than you paid for it. You can then go to the bank and say, hey, I have an asset that is worth $135,000. Can you please give me a loan on it so that I can get my money out of the deal, right? So typically the bank will lend at 75% of the loan to value. That is, of the value of the house, they will give you 75%. So in this case, 75% of $135,000 is roughly $100,000. And that means you can have the bank basically pay you back, basically give you the $100,000, and now you have just a regular 30-year mortgage on that place, and then you can do it again. You can take that $100,000 and go do it again to another property and just keep building up these cash flowing assets along the way. So what I just described here is the BRRRR strategy, as buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. It's a bigger pockets thing, but it does illustrate well the idea of pulling money out of a deal. This is typically done with a cash out refinance, which is just what I explained in the BRRRR model. That is, you are refinancing, you're getting another form of financing besides cash. You're now switching to a 30-year mortgage from a traditional bank, a conventional mortgage. That is one option. That is the option that's most common with this strategy because you can just go take your cash onto the next deal. But there are, of course, other options. There is another really popular strategy called the HELOC, which is the Home Equity Line of Credit. This is basically a credit card that you can open against your home equity as the collateral on this, essentially a credit card. Now these have much lower interest rates than credit cards and the repayment schedule is much more flexible. Go ahead and do some more research on HELOCs, but I really like them and we, Brad and Chloe, plan on doing this in the future as we build up more equity in our properties. By the way, do you guys like our new shirts? My sister Ashley made them for us, so comment below if you guys want a shirt and we will have them made for you. See the back, Max Mountains Instagram handle, make sure you follow us there on Instagram. Okay, so now that we know about ways to pull money out of a deal so that we can go do it on another one, let's explain why you would do that. So the main reason is, as I've been alluding to, is that you can take that money that you have trapped in a house and you can reinvest it, usually into other properties. I'm sure you can do whatever you want with it, honestly. You can go buy stocks, go buy some GameStop, or you could just go buy a car with it. You could buy some clothes, whatever you want is your money. But typically you reinvest that money to, it's kind of like the velocity money. Keep it moving, keep it working for you. And that's exactly what we want to do. Equity, our own money tied up as equity in a house doesn't necessarily do any working for us. The money is not working any harder because we have more equity. And so that is kind of the idea. We want to take that money out, take our hard-earned money out and go reinvest it into other house hacks or maybe other traditional rental properties. Okay, hopefully we've laid some good groundwork, some good foundational knowledge on refinancing, HELOCs, pulling money out of a deal. Now let's explain why we didn't pull money out of our deal yet while it's still trapped in our Colorado house hack. So first of all, money in, we had our $10,000 down payment for a house hack, which, by the way, $10,000 to control a house? Like, oh guys, why aren't you house hacking yet? Let's get moving on that. And then after that, over the course of the year that we lived there, we did spend about $50,000 fixing this place up in terms of all the renovations, rehab. We are not counting the PITI payment because that was, for the most part, covered by our tenants. So there's not really any money out of our pocket. So let's just say with $10,000 down payment and $50,000 of rehab, we were all in for $60,000 of our own money. So now let's look at the numbers, look at the equity, the estimated equity that we have in the property. Right now, as we speak, February 2021, we owe $346,450. At the time, maybe a few months ago, it was probably closer to $350,000. So let's just call it $350,000 for nice round numbers. That is how much we owe on the property. That is our mortgage balance. Now, I have no exact way of knowing how much the house is valued. I had to get an official appraisal out there to get official value. But I am guessing from comparable sales that I'm tracking the area that it is probably around $430,000 right now. So again, equity is just what it's worth minus what we owe. So that would be $430 minus $350 or $80,000 worth of equity, which is pretty nice to have. Equity is good to have. It's a good comforting thing to have in case any market corrections come along. Okay, so given those numbers, value of $430, owe $350 on it, keep in mind we only put 3% down, so that's the reason there's not a ton of equity in this place. So let's explore the options with those numbers. So with a cash out refinance, like I explained in the Burr model, there's two options with a refinance. We could, refinance, you're literally just getting a new loan to pay back your old loan and start a new loan over again. So you could do an investment style loan. Now this is typically at 75% loan to value. So value being $430, 75% of that is around $322,000, which is about $20,000 to $30,000 less than we owe on the property. So it really doesn't make sense for us to refinance into that. On top of that, the interest rate would be higher than an owner-occupant loan, but because interest rates are so low these days, it would probably be about the same interest rate that we originally had on our loan back in 2019, before all this craziness happened in the world. Now the second option would be the owner-occupant financing again. So this would have a much higher loan to value. We would probably be able to refinance at 95 to 97% loan to value. And yeah, this would easily get a lot of our money out of the deal, probably close to $60,000 to $70,000 worth of what we put into the deal, which would be awesome because that would be like almost all of our money back in the deal. Now the main downside of that is that we would have to live in the property for another year. So we'd have to fulfill that 12-month owner-occupant financing again, so we had to live in the property for another 12 months, which we did not want to do. So because of that, we decided not to refinance. We decided just to keep our original loan on the property. So the other option now is the HELOC. And basically the way a home equity line of credit works is, again, they're not going to give you a line of credit on the entire amount of equity. So we're not going to get an $80,000 credit card on this place, because if we use all $80,000 worth of that credit, then we would literally have no equity in the place, and we wouldn't want that, but the banks certainly would not want to take on that risk. So usually what they'll do is they will say, we'll give you a line of credit up to a certain loan to value again, minus what you owe. So usually, I'm not a banker, I don't know, but usually 80% loan to value. So in that case, 80%, I did write it down, would be $344,000. And so $344,000 minus $350,000, that's negative $6,000. So not really any credit to pull out there, unfortunately. But the thing that I recently learned, and I think is pretty cool, and I kind of wish I knew this before, is that on an owner-occupant loan, if you live there, if you still live there, you can do a HELOC at up to 90%, maybe even 95%. You gotta check. But it's up in the 90s of loan to value, which would be much higher. In this case, we'd be looking anywhere with like, I don't know, 385 to 400 minus 350. So that's like $35,000 to $40,000 line of credit card that we can go use to easily buy another house hack or another investment property. And the cool thing that I learned about this, again, I'm not a banker, please talk to a lender about this because this is not official advice. The cool thing about this is you can open up that line of credit, that credit card, while you're living there, and then you can totally move out. It's not like a refinance where you have to live in the house for another 12 months. You can just open up the line of credit and then just literally leave tomorrow, and you have that huge credit line to go reinvest into other properties, which is so cool. And I definitely wish I knew this back in like September or October, because I definitely would have done this, but it's okay. We will keep the equity in there for now, and we will definitely use this on our future properties because this is a great tool to have. Again, having equity in this house is not the end of the world. It's a great tool to have. It's a great tool that we are definitely going to use in the future. But I really just want to emphasize our mindset right now. We are both 23, gosh, I'm almost 24. Anyway, we're both 23, and we're really in the wealth accumulation phase. And in our minds, what that means is we want to have our cash doing the most work for us, if you will, doing the highest ROI work for us. And so sitting in equity is not really accumulating much wealth for us. If we were to put more down payment, then we would have a lower monthly payment and more cash flow. But still, that's not really what we want to do because interest rates are so low these days. And also, the house still appreciates just as much, doesn't matter how much equity you have in place. So we would much rather have just more properties appreciating, more tenants paying down our loan for us, more cash flow. And this is why we're such a big fan of house hacking, because with house hacking, you can use owner-occupant financing. It's so good, guys. It's so much better than just buying an investment property, the lower down payment, which, automatically just less capital that you have to put into the deal. I'd rather take more of our hard-earned money and either invest in index funds, which are known to grow 8 to 12% per year, or just go and buy more properties. Now that is the big downside of house hacking, that you can pretty much only do this once a year with the owner-occupant financing. But hey, if you can take that money and go invest in other real estate, or like I said, just invest in index funds and stocks and keep your money growing, that is really our goal. Of course, we don't want to overextend ourselves or leverage ourselves. That is how people get in trouble. So we always want to have a healthy amount of equity in these places, but really it doesn't make sense for us to have this huge 50%, 60% equity positions right now. Of course, later down the road, 5-10 years, we probably will focus on paying down more of these debts and getting safer, especially as we reach our FIRE number. But that is just our mindset right now, and that is what we're trying to follow. So in terms of our future plans with the Colorado house hack, what we want to do is finish up some of the renovations that we weren't able to finish while we living there. So this includes fixing the siding and getting the house painted. Those are the main ones. We're hoping that painting the house will do a lot of work. The driveway has some cracks, but I think we're just going to leave it as is. And when we do that, we will probably maybe wait for the tenants to leave, maybe not. We will get an appraiser out there, get it appraised, and hopefully open up a home equity line of credit. Hopefully we'll have more equity either by the end of this year, because our loan pay down and appreciation in the debt market is doing pretty well these days. But again, appreciation is nothing to bank on, can't guarantee it. So we'll just wait and see what happens to that, but that is our plan. Another thing with that loan is that once we hit that 80% loan to value, I think maybe 78%, I think is the technical term, but once we have 20% equity in place, that is what we owe divided by the value of the property is at least, say, less than 80%, I guess, then we can have the PMI dropped off. That is the private mortgage insurance. That is an expense that is doing nothing for us and is only benefiting the bank. So I would say it's another $112 a month, I think. and that would, you know, increase our cash flow by $112 a month. So that is the plan with the Colorado house hack. We hope you guys found some value out of these videos. We hope you smash the like button and please consider subscribing. We are still really trying to grow this channel. It is something we really enjoy doing. We really love documenting our journey and sharing it with you guys, and we would love to have more people along for the ride. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram. We are on there much more often than YouTube. And please comment on what you guys think we should do for future videos. We hopefully will be buying our house hack soon, but no promises. And yeah, we would love to hear your feedback. So thank you guys again so much for watching. It means so much that you take your time to watch me sit here at a desk and talk to you guys about our house hack. So have a great day, stay warm, and we'll see you guys in the next video.